my heart and from my hands. Why don't people understand my intentions? Ooh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to PCP Movie Night. You did it. Congratulations. Station, pop, pop, boom. We've made it through another Monday. And to reward you, it's time for our movie club, PCP Movie Night. Tonight, we're talking about Weird Science, the Jogn Hughes classic follow-up to The Breakfast Club, made kind of around the same time at a frantic, phonetic pace, one might say. Speaking of phonetics, it's Jelani. What's up, man?
What's up, Station, man? Yeah, I'm great, man. I love this film. Great pick. Kelly LeBrock was like one of my like crushes, like when I was a children.
Bro, you know what I'm saying. Kelly LeBrock.
Freaking awesome, man.
Kelly LeBrock can get it. Speaking of getting it, it's Brian, the Brianiac. How you doing, Brian? We appreciate you being here.
Now, I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
I need to insert a pause for myself. I was talking through that whole thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing good. Doing good. I don't know, change the scenery a little. You know, I'm hardwired in, so had to, wanted to see what it was like in real time with everybody.
Yeah, we also got Manny. What's up, Manny? How you doing?
Station, dude. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. So excited.
Aren't we excited? And you know what else is super exciting? We have a PCP Movie Night debut. Our brother from another mother. One collection down, a.k.a. the man responsible for all the blaming out there in the world. It's the Kang. Fable!
I made it. Bucket list checked off.
Well done. Welcome.
And what's funny is Fable's like, all I had to do was ask. I was like, what, you like weird science? Yeah, come on. Let's do it.
Do it.
Glad to have you here, Fable. And speaking of weird and science, it's Brooks, the master weird Mario mutant magnetism master micro machine of science.
You got them all my titles.
Or as I like to call them, Declare Doom. That's a throwback. Welcome, Brooks.
Yeah, that's an in joke.
Yeah, it's an in joke from like fucking 25.
Cut, bro.
Yeah, that's a deep cut, man. All right, we're talking about Weird Science from 1985. Jogn Hughes, written and directed, produced by Joel Silver. We know him from lots of stuff, starring Anthony Michael Hall. What is that? Is it Ian Mitchell-Smith, Kelly LeBrock, Robert Downey Jr., and what's the other dude's name? It's the guy that was in Freddy's Revenge. He's in this movie. Is that Robert Russler? Is that who that is? I don't know. Anyway, we're throwing it off already because I don't know the dude's name. We're talking about Weird Science. I loved this movie growing up. Like 100%. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Great soundtrack. That opening theme song by Oingo Boingo. That was great. That was the first time I ever heard anything from Danny Elfman, depending on when Back to School came out, actually.
I love Back to School, too.
What year did Back to School come out? What came first? Dead Man's Party or okay, so Weird Science was yeah, there you go. So that was the first time I'd ever heard it. I love that music. I love that jam. I love the Jogn Hughes movies of the 80s because I was a young kid in the 80s. I was born in 81. And to me, this was what high school was going to fucking be like, right? It was like, and I was getting ready for it, right? Because I was already reading comics and being a little bit of a nerd. And I was excited actually to get into high school because it seemed like that's where everybody had sex and had fun and partied and all that kind of shit,
cool
right?
Stuff happened, man.
Yeah, it's where all the cool stuff happened. And then I grow up a little bit. And then in the early 90s, we get Beverly Hills 90210. And I'm like, Saved by the Bell. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm excited for high school. High school was slightly disappointing until my senior year. However, these movies still hold true to me because I feel like Jogn Hughes captures something with his films. And even in something like Weird Science, which is way more preposterous and out there and crazy than, say, Pretty in Pink or Breakfast Club or even 16 Candles, right? This is way more fantastical, but it's also based on the EC comic book, right? And it's actually based on a story from an EC comic book because Joel Silver had just gotten the rights and Jogn Hughes was in his office. He was flipping through a stack of the books. He came across this one. I don't remember the name of it. It's something like Made in the Future or something like that, where a dude makes a woman. And he's like, wouldn't it be crazy if 2 kids today could make a woman using computers? And it'd be like Frankenstein. And I love it because it fits in the kind of vein of those movies, but a little bit more charm and not so grotesque. Though there are some grotesque moments. I love this movie growing up. On the rewatch, I still rather enjoy this film. It's super fun. It's got some things that if one of the people, for instance, if one of those kids on the bus in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 watches this film, they would be offended. You know what I'm saying? But that's the point of that film. Just kill those motherfuckers, right? Because this movie is funny and it's saying something and it speaks true to what kids were going through, whether or not it's the 80s, the 70s, the 90s, or today. It's generational. Kids go through the same kind of things. Jogn Hughes was able to hone in on that, but it's got a clunky third act. We'll get to that a little bit later. What about you, Jelani? Tell me what you think about this film overall and your experience with it.
Yeah, man, I watched this like a young kid, like, and I loved it then. Like, it's such a, yeah, it is kind of like a fantastical slice of life, where these kids are unpopular at school and embarrassed and bullied, and then all of a sudden they just get tired of it and decide to hack the Pentagon and create a woman. It's like, what? You know, but it's still kind of cool, man. And I love this entire film from beginning to end. I mean, it has like, yeah, there's like one cringy scene that lasts way too long in this movie, and I'm just like, and it's the part where, you know, Anthony Michael Hall goes into the bar and he's like, "Evil dies tonight."
where he's jive talking, evil dies tonight.
Yes, he does. Yeah, evil dies tonight.
Still kind of funny. What's funny is because he thinks he's a part of the joke, but he is the joke.
He's the joke. And like,
she likes malakas, huh?
Yeah. But good. I mean, it's still, you know, there are parts that don't hold up, but it is still a fun film to watch. I still love Kelly LeBrock. I mean, she's smoking now too. Yes, she can still get it. So all together, Oingo Boingo, of course, and I love that Weird Science song. I love Oingo Boingo in general, like all their fun little cookie songs. Anyway, so I love this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not really much things to say about it. So
yeah, we got a whole hour or so to talk about it, right? You know, but overall, you really like it. You liked it for a long time, right? Video store classic, for instance. When we were growing up. Speaking of a classic in the VHS store, what about you, the Brianiac? What do you think about this film?
Well, I did own it on VHS. I was entering high school when this came out, you know. So yeah, I'm that old. I can't recall.
We weren't going to say that, but the fact that you actually went out of the way to point out your age was a bit.
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
You pointed out your age. It wasn't over hard.
I just said the year, man. Anyway, go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't subtract. So I don't think I saw it in the theater, but me and my friends, we watched this over and over again. It never got old. It's just got so many great lines in it, you know, and a lot of the performances are really good. I know we're going to get into a lot of the details, but, I watched it when I watched it the other night on the rewatch. It's probably been 30 years since I've seen it, 25, 30. And I was laughing probably just as hard as I was then. I was crying at certain parts. And I also realized that I still quote lines from it today. And I just forgot that that's where they came from. I mean,
like what?
One is, he's an asshole. Look at his haircut. Anybody with a haircut like that, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Throw that out all the time. And
it's true.
Occasionally I would go, she did what? Yell that out. I mean, I don't know. There's just so many.
Spilio, I do. I had to look it up while I was watching the movie. I was like, what is a lock? And I looked it up like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you, Manny? I'm looking forward to hearing from your many different perspectives.
Well, I the first time I saw this movie, because I was born the year this film came out, was it was on TV, right? So like I didn't, and I think that's the only way I had seen it, because when I rewatched it, I was amazed at what you could get away with a PG-13 film. Holy shit.
John
Right.
Hughes in general. Yeah, that
Come on.
PG Pretty in Pink.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, I'm
pretty
16 candles.
16 candles.
16
pretty,
candles.
Yeah, 16 candles. PG. Boom. Right there. Like me and Jelani worked at the same video store, and we were allowed to play PG movies on the big monitor. So we put in 16 candles.
God.
We
Can't
looked up,
believe.
there's 9 monitors. It's like you're in the back cave. It's just breasts. There's just 18 breasts up
The
there.
first
Just
thing that comes out is she's like, they're like, I can't believe they forgot my fucking birthday. It was the first thing that comes out of her mouth.
we're like, turn the audio off. We're fine.
Turn it off. We're fine.
dude,
And-
yeah,
and breasts.
I'm all excited. I'm telling the kids, we're gonna watch this funny movie. This guy turns into a frog. You know, I was like all excited. And I was like, oh shit, this is in this film. So yeah, I always this was a film that if it was on, it stayed on. You know, and I lived, you know, I mean, we all lived in the age of like commercials, right? So normally at my house, if a commercial came on, that was the end of the show. I still don't know what happened in half the sitcoms I was watching as a kid, because I never made it to the end, because we always flipped at the commercials. But this film stayed on. I even watched the TV show. It was very forgetable. I
On
couldn't tell you what
USA.
happened on it,
That
but I
thing
did
was
watch it.
4
Yeah,
fucking years.
4 years. Yeah.
Dude,
4
did it really?
years.
It was good.
USA
I
doesn't.
liked it.
They don't cancel shit, dude. Like
Well, they gave Savage Dragon 1 season.
but the dead zone lasted 150. That shit is still on. All right. So they don't cancel shit. But no, it was it's a fun movie. What's actually surprising to me is it's ruined by the fact when you find out it's a John Hughes movie, because like you hold it on to a completely different pedestal. When you hear that, you're like, oh, that's a shitty John Hughes movie, but it's a damn good goofy teen romp. I love this film.
It's at least on the same level as Curly Sue, I would say. 100%. Speaking of Curly Sue, it's Fable. What's up, my man? You got your first PCP
man.
movie night segue right there. What do you think about this film, buddy?
I absolutely love this film. I adore it. It is a staple of my childhood. Grew up watching this movie. It hit me right at the perfect time. What you said about, that's what high school is like. I mean, that's exactly how I felt watching this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the older kids cursing and going to parties and drinking and Kelly LeBrock. I mean, I think that's the first time I ever looked at a woman and said, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? I don't know how old I was, 5 or 6. You know, you're not thinking about girls. Girls are icky, but for the first time, I was like, holy smokes, you know?
Yeah, she had a different vibe.
Yeah, man. Love this movie growing up. And on second rewatch, yeah, there's some parts in it that's a little, you know, whatever. It's not his best film. It's not John Hughes' best film.
Yeah. And
But
he
it-
would tell you that, right? Because
Right.
there was some kind of deal where they wanted to make this movie. He was doing Breakfast Club. He agreed to do it. It was something like he had to do one in order to do the other or something like that.
Right.
And Breakfast Club and this movie come out the same year, right?
Mm.
And he talks about how burnt out he was after Breakfast Club, and then pretty much being in pre-production and early production of this movie while you're in principal photography of the Breakfast Club. You understand what happened there. This movie is more Joe Silver than John Hughes, but the core of it is John Hughes, right? But it's crazy. I mean, when's the last time a big time director dropped 2 movies in the same year? At the same time, by the way, he was writing shit like Vacation and the sequel to Vacation, which Anthony Michael Hall couldn't do because he chose to do this movie, right? And they had to bump his pay. They had to bump his pay because of that, which I thought was interesting.
Right. Yeah. It's his most outlandish film. You know, it's not grounded like the other movies, but it's a cool mixture of Bride of Frankenstein and Mary Poppins.
Hell yeah.
Because
Oh, that's the perfect way to say it.
Kelly LeBrock ends up being a Mary Poppins type character. You know,
She is.
at first you're like, oh, you're just looking at her for her looks, but then as the movie goes on, you're like, man, she's an awesome girl. You know what I mean? She's an
Yeah.
awesome woman.
You know,
So yeah,
for
love this movie.
For some reason, I'm obsessed with looking up old Siskel and Ebert reviews of these movies, and the whole clip is up on YouTube. And Siskel fucking hated this movie and thought it was stupid. He's like, it was a great idea, but it was toilet humor, and she has a mind of her own, and it's so sexist. And I'm like, wait a second, it's sexist that she has a mind of her own? Like that's
Right.
and Ebert comes in, he's like, you're out of your gourd. This movie's entertaining, it's funny, and I love that she has a mind of her own. She's not just a sex toy. She's trying to teach these young boys to like become men, to accept themselves. And we'll get all into that later, but it's so wild. Y'all need to watch that if you get a chance. It's so wild because at the same time, at one point, like Roger looks at Gene and goes, oh, let's call the parents brigade. And I'm like, these are the fuckers that were just making movies, like specials about the Evil Dead and how it should be banned and shit like that. It's like, so don't get too fucking righteous there, Mr.
Right.
Ebert. Speaking of self-righteous, Brooks, what do you think about the film?
Well, I've never seen this film before. I knew
Are you
of it.
fucking serious?
Yeah, I did. I remember back in the day seeing the pilot episode of the series. But I don't remember much about it. But I mean, I figured. I mean, you know, I think I had more of expectations for it, and I don't think it really lived up to what I was like expecting from it. Really, it's just a good movie. It's got some really funny parts to it, but like it feels kind of sloppily put together. Sort of, I guess. I don't know ways. Kind of like it's just like a series of, like, you know, circumstances that are just kind of thrown together without really much, you know, to tie them together in parts. And you know, the scene that Jelani was talking about earlier at the bar, that seemed on way too fucking long. Man.
Way too long.
It's like I was like, God, just shut up, dude.
It's because that is 100%.
It reminded me of the Lethal Weapon 4 scene in the dentist's office.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, this scene just fucking ends, please.
That is because of the scene where he gets high for the first time in Breakfast Club. So they were just like, "Oh, you're so funny. Let's redo that bit, but let's like go crazier with it." But he's drunk. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and everything you're saying is true because like that's literally what happened. Like this was a movie that he didn't have everything in. Like this was a jobber kind of thing for him, right? This was him fulfilling a contract, doing an idea, making some money after coming off of what he really wanted to do, which was Breakfast Club, right? And then, I mean, after that, after Breakfast Club pretty much said what he needed to say, he continued to make movies, obviously, and make an impact on the industry. So let's talk about the cast, though. There's a really fantastic cast in this movie, regardless of any kind of structural inconsistencies or passionless effort at times from the director or writer, who's the same person. Who's your favorite character / actor performance in this film, Jelani?
Man.
And we're giving you the easy, like we're teeing it up for, you know, we knocked you down like a couple weeks ago, but we're giving you the easy one right here, man. This is the layup.
It's all good. This is the layup. You know what? I'm gonna be nice because actually my favorite character in this entire movie is Chet.
Ah!
I freaking love Bill Paxton. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You stole my fucking answer.
Chet is the absolute. Listen,
You missed him in the intro too.
Yeah.
You listened to all the people that were in it and didn't mention Bill Paxton. I was like,
Yeah.
Because it still
Because-
hurts. It still hurts
Yeah,
me.
it does.
Man,
All right,
Yeah.
honestly.
For real. And it's
Yeah,
sad that he's gone. And I'm like, man, that dude was amazing in this film. He was
He
just
was.
the utter just version of prick.
And I don't
Just
know
the-
what he's eating,
He's-
but he needs to stop whatever he's eating. Like,
Yeah.
because this dude is the gassiest dude I've ever
Yeah.
seen in the fucking movie.
But he's like, I don't know what his character is about, but like he's just such a jerk on such like an epic level. And like his comeuppance is perfect because he's turned into
He's
that
a typical
pile of
big
shit.
brother.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he is. And he's just like
Extorting his
money.
fucking younger brother.
Yeah, basically getting the Social Security check and his college fund for what happened at the house. I'm like, man, you have lost your mind of the things that you want from your little brother, and like he's just such a dick, and it's a great performance. I think he's like he treats everyone like crap, pretty much everyone. Like he's got the gun. I love when he pulls the gun out on Anthony Michael Hall and his girl in the bed.
Talk about extra
shotgun.
It's like he's pulling that shotgun and like hitting them both with the shotgun. It's like it's so great. I don't know what it is. Like I loved him back then, and then when he of course gets turned into a pile of shit. But then I loved his scenes all the way through this film. He is my favorite character. Rest in peace, brother.
You did
good work.
It's definitely my favorite performance in the film.
Yeah.
Like he nails it. And I think all he had done when he got cast was like that bit role in Terminator. Yeah. Right? Like he was not the Bill Paxton that we're going to come to know and love. And so many great movies, so many great performances, including 2 years later in Near Dark, where he plays Severin, my favorite Bill Paxton performance. Oh my goodness. Speaking of rough around the edges, cool dudes on film that made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tolerable for 6 episodes. Yeah. Brian, what do you think? What's your favorite performance in the film?
That's true. He did play one of my favorite Marvel characters from Electro Assassin. My favorite character, Gary. I like Anthony Michael Hall, and I mean, this like it almost seemed like this movie was a showcase for him.
Yeah.
I mean, like he had a lot of the great. I mean, a lot of his lines are great and everything.
Who's Gary?
Anthony Michael Hall. The
parents.
I love that whole bit.
That was my backup answer. If somebody grabbed Gary, my backup answer was
There
Gary.
he is. That's our
They
son.
were awesome. I mean, you told me you were combing your hair.
Oh my god, he's tossing in the bathroom.
He's tossing in the bathroom.
I mean, I don't know. I loved him in it, but definitely. I mean, there's some good performances in this.
It's a great performance, right? Like it really is for him. It was spotlight for him. This was the moment where I think he kind of got full of himself, and from this point forward, he was just doing everything he could to just fuck his career, including saying no to Stanley Kubrick.
Didn't he do Saturday Night Live for like one episode or something like that? But he was like I seem to remember like 1 year he was listed as a cast member, but he did like one skit or something like that.
Yeah, he did something like that.
Yeah. Well, those the 80s Brat Pack, like, whew, they learned some lessons, right?
Yeah,
and
I think they did.
Some did well.
Speaking of learning lessons, Manny, what do you think, buddy?
All right. I was gonna go with one guy, but I think I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna go Robert Russler as Max because we couldn't remember who he was at the beginning of the show, and I'm a big fan of committing to the bit.
Well,
so
that's
Max,
the guy, he's in Freddy's Revenge and in Vamp, right? He's in Vamp.
That he is. Max. Here's the deal. There's a scene in this film. It's a very understated scene where Max and Robert Downey Jr.'s character, they're sitting at the bed and they're trying to have a heart-to-heart with Gary and Wyatt. They just want to understand what it's like to feel the love of a woman because they don't.
They're having a parlay.
Yeah, because they don't love their girlfriends. They don't understand what love is, and they're so desperate to grab onto what Gary and Wyatt have, and Gary and Wyatt, they're not having it because they're assholes. Max, look at the house that Wyatt lives in, and look at the life he lives. He has a bed next to his bed for his best friend. There's no other fucking kids in that house. He's got 2 twin beds in that room.
Jeff's got his own.
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, he got a damn supercomputer. He's got a fucking VCR in 1985. All right,
you get the idea. Sorry to interrupt. You get the idea that Chet is not favored by the parents. They don't give him any money, but the young kid who is doing good in school gets like all of that shit, right?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, he was in boarding school, right? And that's not a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
and Wyatt is so divorced from valuing his possessions and the things he has. He takes it all so much for granted. He gives it to Chet. He'll give it to Chet. All right. Max sees this. Max understands this. He's a stand-in for the audience looking at this rich kid. All right. And yeah, he seems to act out, but what teenager doesn't? All right. Max is the unsung hero. When Robert Downey Jr. starts losing his cool in that parlay, when Robert Downey Jr. is like, don't be an asshole. He's like, hey. He's trying to keep it cool. He's trying to keep it calm. He's trying to elevate him and his brother's his friend's status up to and meet these guys on that level. So for that reason, and for as a pillar of pop culture philosophers and committing to the bit, Robert Russler as Max is the best character in this film.
Dude, I mean, he's legendary in Vamp, in this film, and in Freddy 2. Like, let's be honest, okay? So he's a legendary performer. And dude, the two bullies, they're great. My favorite bit with them is when they're trying to like be suave with Lisa. And like there's this bit. I tried to find a clip of it so I could clip it out when I was introducing Brooks, but it didn't work. But and it was when Robert Downey Jr. is just making these like winky googly eyes at her and some shit, and he's doing the same thing. They're just kind of, dude, they're hilarious. But you're right, they're just trying to trade. You two want, is it Gary and Wyatt? Y'all want popularity so much. Well, we'll willingly trade popularity, which is superficial, for real true love and commitment, right?
Yep, absolutely.
They just wanted their own. What are you talking about?
They had girlfriends already.
They
had girlfriends. They didn't have a woman friends though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they don't know that Gary and Wyatt were in the shower like. I'd be doing something different in that shower because I am a little bit of a maniac. Speaking of maniacs and showers, what about you, Fabe? What do you think? What's your favorite performance in this film that hasn't been mentioned?
Oh, my favorite is hands down Lisa, Kelly LeBrock, man. She is awesome in this movie. She is super fine, super sexy. She plays her sex appeal up, and she's super like endearing at the same exact time. She plays a good big sister in this movie. Good mother figure, kind of a little bit big sister figure.
A mother and a big sister that will shower with you and make out.
Yeah. But this is what's cool.
Powers.
Yeah,
this is what's so cool about her, though. Like, you know what I mean? She's taking showers with the guys. She's letting them know, listen, stop being such dorks with your shorts on in the shower. She's taking them out the bars.
It's that relationship every young boy in the 80s wanted with their babysitter.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I concur. Yes.
Without a doubt. She's teaching homeboy how to kiss. What else? She did so much for these boys.
She's not trying to like cradle Rob, or anything, because that aspect alone would make this movie almost unfilmable today, right? But she's teaching these dudes to be confident in themselves, right? And like here's your chance to do that. I've had many women that helped me gain confidence in my young life.
Yeah, absolutely. And and she's doing all the things that as a kid you wanna do. Like you see her stand up to the parents, right? Remember that scene? She stood up to the parents, and I was just cheering for her so much. And they're like, yeah, tell them,
sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, chains, and whips.
Exactly. Chips. So yeah, man, Kelly LeBrock for sure. I wanted a wife just like her when I grew up. Like that's what I wanted. I wanted her to be named Lisa too. Like that's how crazy I was for her.
Named after the Apple computer named Lisa, apparently. So hell yeah, though. I somehow, usually we like to kind of, razz the new guy here on PCP Movie Night, but we just set that volleyball up perfectly for Fable. Because, yeah, absolutely. A brilliant, iconic performance and the most memorable performance in the film for sure. She is definitely the Rufus of this film. But the Rufus of PCP is Brooks. Brooks, what's the performance you want to highlight?
Well, I'm glad I picked an obscure character because Lisa's obviously the best character. But
yeah.
But a character that I thought was interesting, it's like it was a girl at the party who was playing the piano. A girl got sucked out the window.
She was a Playboy model.
I was like, there's one of those scenes. There's a lot, which is like a lot of this movie is scenes where I'm just like, what? I was like, what? Why? But another thing I thought was interesting after like watching this movie is like, could you imagine a movie like it's this movie except it's like two nerdy teenage girls who accidentally create like a computer generated like hunk to teach them the ways of fucking like romance and shit. Like, I don't know if that would work, man.
It wouldn't.
I think it could in the right, like, I don't know. It'd be weird though. I just thought that was just like, just.
They do that now, though. They gender swap weird science now.
Well, that would be the prequel to
Can I actually make this story, but gender swapped?
Yeah.
The prequel to the Ghostbusters 2016, Chris Helmsworth's character. He was made the same way. We just haven't seen that film yet. It's coming.
I was about to say Chris Hemsworth could play Lisa in a remake if they
want.
Oh
yeah, he'd be the perfect like beefcake, computer generated beefcake boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll be honest. I was looking at the chat. Brooks, who did you say?
The girl that played the piano at the party.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Playboy model. Okay. Yeah, that's a good pick. So now it's left on me. So I'm going to spotlight two characters. I'm going to say Lord General, played by Vernon Wells, basically playing the same character from the Mad Max movie.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he randomly shows up, and then when Michael Berryman shows up as the mutant biker. Really, this movie is so fucking random. Like, my favorite bit's when the fucking kitchen just turns blue.
Yep, right. That was awesome.
And then also, big shout out to the grandparents.
Yep.
Right.
Doing
they
the bit.
Never leave it.
Doing the bit before we ever thought of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But no, having Michael Berryman and Vernon Wells in here, like, that's really freaking cool, man. Like, as a horror fan, as a fan of genre filmmaking, like, that's cool to see them in there and see Michael Berryman do his very, like, sophisticated voice, like, be able to use that in one of these movies. Because when I met him, this dude's like one of the brightest fucking dudes, and he told me I was smart because he had this whole story he told. He was like, now why did Wes make this decision? And I knew the answer. And like, he was like, see, he's really smart. And he told Jamie, he's like, he's a keeper. So there you go. So I'll go there. Style and structure. Let's get into the style of the film, the way it looks, the way it's told, the pace, the script. What do you think about it, Jelani?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not Jogn Hughes' best work. It's very it's choppy in scenes. Some scenes go on for way too long. So certain things. Yeah, you're right about that third act. It's kind of like all over the place. Like she gets her genie powers and uses them way too much.
The third act should have just been the party.
It should have been the party.
Just the party.
Yeah, and that's it. And them just learning how to become men that way. I mean, you could have thrown the bikers in.
But the party's in the second act, basically, right? And the third act is this long ass resolution, almost in a way. I don't know.
Driving the girls home. They're driving the girls home in the car chase and all that stuff. You know, you got to have fun stuff in it, I guess, for the action scenes. But yeah, it's all over the place. I like the special effects. You know, for 1985, you're doing fairly decent. I like the lightning. I'm still confused how they were able to hack the Pentagon or whatever that base to get that stuff.
That's another great character. That one guy that's just like,
what? And it's twice. That man not only should he have lost his job, they should have been tracking down. That would have been great to see them track down. Like, how did this happen? You know, how did our secrets get broken into?
Caused the weird science,
dude. The end of the movie is them realizing how to grow up and to have confidence in themselves,
right.
And then these government agents come in and just blow them the fuck away.
Yes. Like, what?
Because we're still in the Cold War in 1985. God damn it! Right. Okay,
these are Russian scum. So like it's all over the place towards the end of it, but I like the coming of age portion of it. I just like all of the little sections and vignettes we get of, you know, these kids are getting bullied and how they're viewed by their peers, but at the same time now they have a new weapon in their arsenal, and that's Lisa, and she's there to like help them grow and change and become better people, and I love that aspect of it for this film. So it's got the Jogn Hughes heart,
right?
But it's just a clunky kind of way he's telling that story, but the heart's there. So I really enjoy that. That's why it's such a lovable film.
Yeah,
You
could definitely. The third act of this movie symbolizes to me a writer director who is at the end of a marathon that brought him a lot of success, but is fucking tired.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and I kind of feel that, and I like the idea of Lisa as a role model for these young boys, because a lot of us as young men have a certain idea of what we expect women to be like, right? And she, like, we could use a guiding kind of force. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody that's necessarily like some hot adult that's going to come and kiss kids to teach them how to kiss and shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like we could have a better vision of women outside of just supermodels. And that's one of the things I really like about this movie and what it's trying to do.
She has substance along with beauty. 100%. And it works very well.
Speaking of substance and beauty, Brian, what you got?
Well, I didn't know the back history like you guys are mentioning, but it makes sense. I mean, because there's some clunkiness to this movie, but like there are plenty of classic. I mean, Jogn Hughes elements to it. I mean the opening scene, where it's clearly establishing these guys as nerds. I mean, it starts off, with it's not Ride of the Valkyries, is it? But it's one of those like classic songs, triumphant things, and it's like shows their tennis shoes, and it's like, oh, high school gym class, bunch of nerds, and everything. Those clear establishing of what the character traits are, and stuff like that through just visual stuff. I mean, I like things like that. It moves into the plot, the main plot really fast. I thought some of the pacing was not great.
That's how you fix the pace, I think, is have the whole first act lead up to Lisa showing up. Build up the world, build up the relationships, build up the bullies, because the bullies are dropped off.
Right.
They should be the antagonist, not a fucking mutant game that shows up out of nowhere that I guess we have to understand. I guess Lisa brought in, right? There's also this whole bit where they leave, so these mutants show up at the party. Gary and Wyatt run away. Lisa turns them into like pigs and shit or something, but they cut it out, but you can see the extended cut of it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, she brings the mutants in. I mean, and like puts in their minds all these things, to call them out, which might have been a clue to them that this is weird.
Maybe Lisa did this.
But yeah, like when you're talking about like just the kind of the science part of it, I thought it was funny how like, oh yeah, I used to confuse those two all the time. Did it say Real Genius? Yeah, I did that too.
With the laser.
The names are similar. But anyway, but yeah, like, they did all that work and entered all this stuff into the computer for the perfect woman and everything like that. And then when they did it the second time, they did all that same work, but it seemed like the only thing that was really important was attaching electrodes to a doll.
Yeah.
Because they attach it to a nuclear missile, and it's a nuclear missile, not like I don't know.
They have all those Playboys and penthouses.
By the way, I can't say this for certain, but I think that scene represents the most costly fart in human history. So they're filming this scene. They got to they've rigged up this rocket to come through this fucking room, right? And do all this shit. And in the middle of shooting this take that they can only do one time, Anthony Michael Hall farts. And everybody starts fucking laughing. So then they have to refilm it, but they had already broken through the fucking shit. So they refilmed it in reverse. And that's why it looks so wonky.
Oh.
And it cost 100 G's to refilm that scene.
Wow.
That's $100,000 spent on Anthony Michael Hall's fart.
That makes sense.
There you
go.
go.
Makes sense. That's funny. That's funny.
Because that
couldn't they just
wonky,
edit that out?
right?
Couldn't they just edit that out in post or something?
Well, everybody cracked up and laughed.
Yeah, the reaction of the other people. Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree on the end too. And Rob, you mentioned that before I actually watched it again, and it does drag on for a while. But there's some good scenes in that, like when he drives by Gary's parents. It's like, there's Gary. Who are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh my God. That whole bit is so fucking funny.
It's awesome.
It's hilarious.
It's awesome. So, but yeah, it's all those things are just kind of nitnoid to me because I mean the script is great to me. I mean, like the dialogue and
he wrote it in 2 days, by the way.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's another
That's awesome.
I think it's great. It's a dude. You give somebody else, you give 10 other people 2 fucking years, they couldn't come up with the script this good.
No.
Nowadays, do you
Yep,
get what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
true.
Absolutely.
It took
rip
6
off
people to
30
write some of
things.
those James Bond films I just watched. Okay.
That's only the people they listed.
I know, right?
God.
All right. Speaking of ghost writing, who likes to ghost write the whip and not ghost ride, ghost write? There's a book called The Whip, and Manny ghost writes it. Anyway,
I do.
what do you think, Manny, about the style and structure of the film?
Oh, style structure wise, I mean, it's an 80s teen comedy, right? I mean, there's the style, everything that needs to be there is there. It's really, I mean, it's competently shot. The cinematographer on this did like Poltergeist and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and I mean, the dude knows how his way around shooting a
I
film.
think it's fantastically shot for what it is. You have to do. They have some optical effects in there, and there's some moments where the camera moves, and they do some cool nods to things, and I like the way it's shot. The cinematography is pretty solid.
Yeah, it's
different than all the other Jogn Hughes movies.
Yeah, this is definitely a funner film. You know what I mean? Like just in every aspect, just in the way that things are moving, the way that things are shot. The structure of the film, like you said, the third act is a mess. It's just happening, and we just take it by like conceit that's like, oh, okay, yeah, because it's Barry fucking Poppins, and anything can happen. But as far as like the actual I don't want to talk about that, because that's what the film's trying to say. I think I still got to make up what it's trying to say, but the
you still gotta make it
but
because you blew too much of a load when you were talking about your favorite fucking
right?
character.
I know, right? But no, structurally, I guess the film hits every button it's supposed to. It hits everything that it needs to hit. Like, I mean, even like the nudity feels forced, like the shit, like, oh, we need nudity here because it's a teen movie for teenage boys, so they throw this shit in there. Like everything just feels thrown in.
Hey, she did her own stunts though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's important. That's very
The people who made Chainsaw Massacre should have watched this before.
Glad I didn't see it. Thank you guys for like telling me to do it. Yeah.
Nah, Delaney, I'm going to tell you that movie sucks, but it is so fucking funny. It's a good shitty
like
movie.
a good bad movie.
I think you should. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, just watch it.
Jelani, real quick. I'm not trying to derail too much, but we're probably saving Manny right now. But Jelani, if you want to see a busload of smug ass fucking 20-year-olds who think they have figured out the world just get fucking devoured and massacred, watch this fucking movie.
I do. Okay.
It's like fan fiction, bro.
Right. So like they're the dumb kids from like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, because I hate those kids, and I wanted them from the original movie, and I wanted them all to die. So it's the same thing.
These dudes were going on
like,
about characterization on Saturday night on Dylan's Horror Show, and I'm like, has there ever been a character in any of these fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies that is not part of the family of Leatherface that we give a shit about? Come on.
Right.
No.
Not at all. I want you dead.
That's the point. Fable hates the movie though, and I respect that.
Oh,
but the greatest psychological thriller of the 90s is Exorcist. Is that all you got, Manny?
Yeah. I was gonna launch into a bit where I started talking about real science, but I think that would derail the show, you know, where I like confuse the two. So I figured, fuck it, I want to commit to the bit. So if y'all want to see that, y'all can hit me up in the chat on Wednesday night on someone else's show. I'll go into that. Don't worry.
There you go. All right. Hey, but what about you? What do you think about the style and structure, man?
As far as structure, I think all of you said the right things. It's a little clunky. Some spots too long, some spots too short. Pacing's a little off. Things like that. Style, it's quintessential 80s look. I love it. You know, the clothes, the suits that they were wearing, the bar they went to, the computer sequence when they were making the girl. I mean, I really thought as a kid that computers can do that. Right? Because I never had a computer until like I was a teenager. So back in 85, seeing that doing, I was like, oh my gosh, we got to get a computer. We can make women on it. You know?
When me and Jamie were watching it, I was like, this is so ridiculous now. But back then you were like, okay. Because nobody had a computer.
Right. Exactly.
None of us. Like
None of
nobody in
us.
our fucking class had this shit,
You know, and it had crude 3D graphics at the time, but that was brand new to us. So seeing all the 3-dimensional stuff happening is like, oh my Lord, this is awesome. So
I like how they don't commit to the big boobs, but Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr. and the other dude do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the way they shrink down too, the way they flop back in. Like that was awesome.
3D boobs.
The only thing about style that I would love to see more of is more Jogn Hughes isms, right? He does these kind of like when he does the close up of their lips and in the bathroom and they're making the game plan and they're talking really fast. You know, or the part where they're in the bathroom and he's like, "Hey, Wyatt, I'm taking a shit." And then the music goes boom and his eyes pop open. He goes back in the bathroom, smacks the kid, and then goes back out. Those are Jogn Hughes kind of things. Like, and I wish a little more of that was littered in the movie because that's a beautiful. I love his style. So
This
you know,
the
that's his
stupid
style.
ass bit where the women are like, "Do you mind? We want to kind of have a moment alone to talk." And they're like, "Oh, no problem." They go into the shower. What the fuck is that?
Yeah,
That's their answer now. Women want to be in the shower with us.
And then when they finally get the game plan and they peep out, it's like two not so attractive women there that look like the girls they were just with.
Yeah. How dare they? How dare they?
Yeah, you know, the fourth wall breaking stuff that he does when the characters look at the camera.
Oh yeah.
Real quick and acknowledge something like, you know, those are Jogn Hughes style stuff that I would have loved to see more of. But he has a few in here that are awesome. So love the style.
One thing you can see is that this is a bridge between the grounded reality of something like, say, Breakfast Club and the fantastical nature of Weird Science blends together to give us Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is
I was just thinking that too.
Fucking brilliant film because this is him kind of honing that thing. He's not able to bridge it yet because he's exhausted,
right?
You know, but it's to come.
And he had more time.
Yeah. What I love about him, what I love about him as a director, what makes Jogn Hughes style, undeniably Jogn Hughes style is those little things. Yeah. And in that movie, you just said Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's a bunch of it. That's why it's so memorable. Those those weird, awkward shots. Only that he does. Like when you filming these things, they gotta think he's crazy for filming some of the stuff he's filming, right? But it works. It's so hilarious, you know. So man. Yeah. That's the only thing I would knock on the style. But I love the style. Structures, whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of whatever. Brooks, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think the kind of the style of this movie is its weakness, really. Because like saying, it feels really thrown together. It kind of reminds me of you remember when they used to make movies out of SNL characters that become popular back in the day? Like It's Pat or Stuart Saves His Family or Wayne
Dancing Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like that where it's just like they have an idea and they just kind of he's just kind of like applying situations to the idea. The narrative feels a little like it wasn't well thought out. But I mean I think like the performances really save a lot of it. Just because like the performances and the music I think are this movie's like two strong points that keep it Right. And it does have some good funny lines. It has a lot of funny scenes. It just feels like it's like I said, it just feels kind of sloppily put together. A little slapdash, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, you mentioned the music saving it and being a big deal. Ira Newborn did the music, and let's talk about Ira Newborn's work. 16 Candles. Makes sense? Wise Guys, the Brian De Palma film. Okay, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Caddyshack 2. Wow. Naked Gun. Uncle Buck. So you're seeing that he likes doing Jogn Hughes and Jogn Hughes type movies. How about this one? Innocent Blood, the John Landis movie. How about Ace Ventura, Pet Detective? How about this one? He was the composer of the score of Basketball, High School High, the Jerky Boys movie, and one of our favorites, Mallrats. Joel Silver, right? Wait, Joel Silver, that was a different guy, right? Yeah, anyway, aside from that fact, the score is fine. It's very 80s. It does what it's trying to do. Jogn Hughes is excellent at picking music for his movies that is composed for the movie and that is also chosen out of the ether, right? So he's great at picking these movies or this music that's of the time, but they don't feel like they necessarily date the film to me. Like,
Right.
I don't feel like Breakfast Club is a dated film, even though it is so 80s. I feel the same way about this one. It's got a timeless quality to me almost because he picks the right music.
Right.
And he headhunted Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo and said, I want you to do the theme. They made this theme for this movie. I mean, come on. That's one of the best fucking 80s movies themes in like ever. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Weird Science. Fantastic. What do you think about the music, Jillian?
Absolutely, I agree 100%, man. It does what it needs to do. That score is, it was not the most memorable, but the soundtrack for it, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's Weird Science, man. It's freaking Oingo Boingo. It's Danny Elfman. It's so clean. Like, I remember this movie because of the song. You know, it comes up so much, and like I didn't watch the all of the end credits because I watched it on Peacock. And so they like cut it to a trailer for some other stupid movie, and I was like, no, hear the rest of this, and I didn't feel like going back. But it's I mean, I'm pretty sure it was still Weird Science vamped at the end. I don't know, but it's good. It's serviceable. I mean, there's not much I can say about it because, like, I don't remember much of it.
Yeah.
I remember the score being in places where it needed to be, but man, Weird Science just blows that out of the water.
Well, the score is mimicking some of the 80s, like Oingo Boingo-ness of it,
Right.
you know, and I like that. But the soundtrack is pretty good too. I do want to highlight that there is a Kim Wilde song on there. You know me and Kim Wilde, but Turn It On is on the soundtrack. So I really like it. What do you think about the music, Brian?
Yeah, I loved it. I think that's definitely one of the stronger points of the movie. Yeah, the score is great. But yeah, and like you guys said, the theme song is amazing. But you know, and yeah, that Kim Wilde song. I mean, that good 80s songs that were, you know, thrown in there. But probably my favorite use of music in it though was when they woke up hungover and Michael Oldfield's Tubular Bells was playing.
Yes, I forgot about that bit.
That's so awesome. Because that was also like around that time, like, you know, when I was first watching this movie, I was a young teen. I listened to a lot of metal, you know, a lot of you know, short, hard songs and stuff like that. And Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells actually introduced me to longer form music that was actually cool, you know, that you could get into. Because, like, you know, I wasn't about sitting there listening to a 30-minute song, you know, at that age too much. But that was like, you know, so, and I think it was that movie that introduced that to me, you know. So it was like, I mean, I you know, when I saw it this last time, I just started laughing all over again. I was like, oh man, forgot about Tubular Bells being in this. It's so cool.
That's a great moment to pick out, man, because I forgot about that. But when that happened, I was like, oh my God, that's so that is what it's like the first time you wake up from a night like that, and you're just like, what the fuck happened? And I get the idea that I don't know. I almost get the idea that they did it.
Yeah, she's wearing his clothes.
They may have London bridged that night. Is all I'm trying to say. Speaking of London Bridge, Manny, what do you think about the music in the film?
The score, like so many PCP movie nights, I don't know when it was employed. It was in the film. I know there was music playing. I don't know when, and I don't know what it sounded like. I'm sure there was like some high speed, like when he's running from the cops. There's probably like a da-da-da-da-da type shit. I have no idea. But Danny Elfman's fucking track "Weird Science" is a fucking banger. I've been singing it like nonstop, like all week. Just weird, sad, and I mix it up with the Ninja Turtle. Does anyone else do that? Like when I'm humming it, I get fucking confused. But what I love is the story I heard about that song. Like Danny Elfman gets asked to write this song. He just writes it in his car on his way somewhere, not thinking anything of it, and it's like their biggest freaking hit. And it was like when I found out this was a Jogn Hughes movie. I was a little disappointed when I found out that it was Danny Elfman. I didn't know I knew Danny Elfman was in Oingo Boingo, but I couldn't have told you that. If you just said, "Hey, have you heard Oingo Boingo?" I'd have been like, "Fuck, yeah." Was it on before Bear in the Big Blue House, but after Gullah Gullah Island? Like, when the fuck was Oingo Boingo on? I would have had no idea when that show was on, or that what that band was. And when I found out that was this, I went and listened to the rest of their stuff.
Dead Man's Party, bro.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Back to
Who's gonna ask for more?
Danny Elfman's
Yeah.
in the film.
Oh,
the
dude,
band's
yeah.
in the film. Yeah.
It was freaking there. Now I've got a band to say I'm gonna listen to.
You
So
gotta get to
Life,
it, man.
Private Life. Oh my God, they're so dude.
Get to it,
Dude.
man.
Good stuff.
Dude.
Yeah,
Plus,
they're
he's the singing voice of Jack in Nightmare Before
And
Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. You could
Wow.
totally hear that now. Like,
That's
once
right.
you know that, you can't unhear that shit. And yeah.
Oh yeah, and Chinese finger cuffs. I'm sorry, you have to throw that.
Like a pair of finger cuffs. Finger cuffs?
Finger cuffs.
The fuck is finger cuffs?
Sorry.
We have to all sleep together. Anyway, talk about clunky third act. Fable. What do you got? What do you think about the music in this film? That being said, I love the third act of Chasing Amy. I'm just going to be on record to say that. Okay,
I
get it all the
don't.
way.
So yeah.
The score is okay. It's trying its best to sound like computery, video gamey kind of thing, in the action sequences and stuff like that. But I do love the placement, like Brian was saying, with the tubular bells. I like the placement of like a ripoff of 2001: Space Odyssey in the beginning.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
place these little musical things. I don't know if it's licensed or whatever, at the right time. So I like when they do that. But the score was just okay to me. And of course the title track is amazing. I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really love when he places that I don't know what you would call it, like free use music. And
I'm sure they had to pay for that shit. But like, fuck
But
it, it's a Jogn Hughes movie. We'll pay it.
Yeah.
Right?
But it works as comedy is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because like when the tubular bells plays, that's funny.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an homage parody type moment, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like when all those movies for 5 years after The Matrix came out were parodying
Right.
the fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of movies did that where they would try to. I'm sure I should reword this. I think a lot of movies wanted to do this bit, but only a Jogn Hughes movie in '85 could afford it. If that makes sense, right? But it's really great. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the music?
Well, like I said, I like the music in this movie. I think this movie would have made like a good like rock opera kind of musical style comedy.
Somebody
Like,
should
if
do a
they'd focus
musical of
more on
Weird
the music
Science.
and like having the characters, like kind of interpret the songs and stuff. But we get what we get.
I think
So
this
I'd
is
be
the one
happy
time
with
in my life that I can ever remember Brooks saying this movie would be better as a musical. That's the first time I ever remember anybody telling me that, actually.
Makes sense.
Now, that's a good point, man. You really like the music in this movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
glad you noticed it.
It's got a lot of it gets the nostalgia juice, pumping into my brain.
Nice.
sometimes.
Even for a movie that Brooks is watching for the first time from 1985, he still gets a nostalgic tinge out of it. And I love it, right? Because this is quintessentially 80s.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I think
It's
the
good.
message the message of this movie is quintessentially 80s, but also timeless. So Jelani,
Right.
what is this movie about? What's it trying to say?
well, before I do that, Brooks, Kim Malin is the girl that's your favorite character,
The piano girl.
the piano girl. Yeah. Kim
Yeah, she's
Malin.
she was a Playboy
She's a
centerfold,
Playboy-
right?
She was like a Playboy playmate. Yeah.
But she did her stunts, man. I
Mhm.
saw that in a video
She did
today.
'em.
She did them.
She's real.
Did she get sucked out of a window into a pool?
Yeah.
No, but she dropped
fell
into the pool and she held on the wire or whatever. So
Well done. But this
I think very well done, actually.
Yeah, I'm very
Good
proud of
on
To
her.
be honest,
I'm
one
very
of the
proud of
best
her.
visual performances in the film.
Yes. Absolutely. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. What? Anyway, moving on.
What?
Fable's
This
like, what am I
movie-
doing?
Hey, man, welcome to the Thunderdome, brother. What this movie's trying to say to me? I mean, I said it before, and I think we mentioned it a few times. It's a coming of age tale. It's boys becoming men, and you know they go through fantastical ways to do it, but it's done. They before they're spineless, you know, wanting their dreams to come true, but not really trying to achieve them. Just
Right.
you know, not really jumping out there in the world and getting your feet wet. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to just get up and be a man. And you know, Lisa was that nudge. Lisa was that pushing. If Lisa was a figment of their imaginations, she was a great figment. Like just there to give these boys a push. That's all, you know, and that's what I think this film is about.
Yeah.
I think that these boys needed, you know, just that good kick in the pants to become the men that they will become in the future. And,
Yeah.
you know, I see that they'll do well, even though, you know, Wyatt's a rich kid and, you know, Gary's his goofy
Right.
friend.
And Gary's not. Gary's blue collar. You can tell
There's
that from
blue
his
collar.
dad.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a plumber. But plumbers make really good money now. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like that's
But-
a subtle little thing that Jogn Hughes is putting in the script that's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And it does so well. It gives a slice of life of the 80s. Like, it's the 80s and how, you know, those
It was like-
archetypes of nerds and bullies and the jocks and the kids and the cheerleaders and all of those little tropes.
What
are
it was
in
like
the-
to growing up, right? What it was like growing up in
how
the
you
80s.
do grow up. So Jogn Hughes captures it very well. I see that's the theme I can pull out of it.
Oh, absolutely. Coming of age is a big part of a lot of his movies of this era. And, you know, structurally, right? Like, if anybody ever wanted to remake this film, call me. Because here's what I would do. We set it in 1985. It's a period piece. Act 1 is them coming up with the idea, building up who they are, the bullies, that relationship, the girls they want, build it up for the first 20 minutes of the film. The end of that 20 minutes is when Lisa shows up. Okay? We build up the idea. The second act, though, instead of just having the bar scene, have an entire act where Lisa is taking them into the world, right? Showing them things. They are getting into kerfluffles. They're getting into fights. They're having to she's putting them in situations to stick up for themselves, and they do a little bit, but not a whole lot. And then the third act is the party. And then it can be chaotic. And then to me, it's structured a little bit better. But I'm just regurgitating something I forgot to say on the structure bit. Brian, what do you think the movie's about?
Yeah, I mean those are good points. I mean that's you know, I kind of looked at it as like you know, be who you are. But you know, for teenagers, you're still kind of figuring some of that stuff out, right? So you need to take risks. You know, I mean that's kind of what, you know, you need to jump into something, and yeah, the consequences may not be great, you know, but you know, that's the time of your life where, you know, I mean, definitely one of the times of your life you need to do that to help find out who you are, you know, and everything. And because, you know, they were trying to be things, you know, trying to be popular and, you know, and then trying to be like, you know, men, you know, and then, you know, just kind of, you know,
she gave them all the superficial pieces, right? Here's the car, here's the clothes, here's the opportunity, but they failed flat, right? Yeah.
And then, you know, then she throws them in like danger, you know, and then they, you know, step up, you know, and everything. So, yeah.
And she killed Wyatt's grandparents.
Yeah, because you don't see him again. You don't see him again.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to them. Yeah.
We don't know what happened to them at all.
It's like just a line on the screen. Then his grandparents died.
And they never repainted the kitchen.
Hey, blue. Why is the kitchen blue?
Well said, Manny and Brian. What about you, Manny? What's this movie about?
I think this film is trying to say two different things. So first, Lisa, like Robbie told us, was named after the Apple computer, right? And Lisa. Gary and Wyatt are a couple of Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak motherfuckers. Like Gary does nothing in this film except convince Wyatt to do everything for him.
He is dating his smart friend.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that is Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Like they're letting us know this is what the hell is actually happening in Silicon Valley. I appreciate John Hughes for letting us know that shit in '85. He was a whistleblower.
In '85, these motherfuckers making a scathing criticism on goddamn Apple.
It was ahead of its time. We know that about Hughes.
Oh my lord.
And Lisa Lisa's the technology that they're not going to be able to get a hold of, right?
Exactly. And just like how the GUI was stolen from Xerox, this film was stolen from fucking Mary Poppins and Bride of Frankenstein. See, it's all full circle. This is some Kubrick level shit right now. The other thing this film's trying to tell us about is like expectations versus reality, right? Like they expected to make a girl, and this girl was going to solve all their problems. Joel Silver expected a hit teen film and so Hughes was like, fuck it, I'm giving him all of that. I don't care if it even makes sense. I'm giving him all of that. This has everything that it needs, like and it's rushed and it's out there, but it's like Hughes saying, here, this is what you wanted. Now let me make Breakfast Club. This is what you wanted. This is your expectation. The reality is that this film is going to be a clunky mess. It's going to be endearing because I'm John Hughes. Motherfucker, I only do an 11. But I'm giving this to you. This is your expectation. Now you're going to deal with the reality of it. And that's what Lisa does with these boys. She fulfills their expectations, but they got to deal with the reality of it. This film is very, very deep in showing us that, right? The guys thought that if they had the most beautiful girlfriend, they'd be fulfilled. But it wasn't that. The reality was the two girls in front of them. And those are the ones they get.
And the connection.
Yeah,
they couldn't do nothing with Lisa.
Exactly. This film speaks to your soul.
I don't even think they did the Chinese finger cuffs. I don't even think they did. I think she just literally was like.
She said they didn't. They passed out.
They passed out.
Passed out.
Of course they did.
We're in the gymnastics routine.
Yeah.
Because that would have been illegal.
Yeah.
It would have been. Right. But here's the thing. Here's something I think. And this is an original idea. But what if we did a direct sequel to Weird Science today? We got Anthony Michael Hall back. We got Ian, whatever the fuck his name is, back. Let's get them all back. Anthony Michael Hall's character now has supreme father issues because his dad does not know who he is. Right? Let's think about the lingering ramifications of this fucking movie. Anyway, Dave, what about you, man? What do you think this movie's trying to say to you?
Oh man. I think this movie's about seeking validation. And not to seek validation to be who you are or what you want to do. Like, you don't have to get everybody's approval for everything. Because we see this when, like you said, she gave him the car, she gave him the clothes. They went to the mall and still got Slurpees dunked on them. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not going to help. The cars and the clothes ain't going to help. The hot lady ain't going to help, You just got to be yourself. And when they finally got some courage and were themselves, they got the girl, they became popular, everything happened.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's about validation and not seeking it.
I think it falls apart 5 years later, though. I really do. I think it falls apart for Gary and Wyatt 5 years later. I think it's a tragic story. We just need to really do the sequel. Direct. No, good points. What about you, Brooks? What's the movie saying?
I think this movie is about how to be a good mentor. Because, kids look up to older people's, sometimes. But they feel, you always seem kind of out of touch, because of the age difference sometimes. It's it has to show a good mentor for kids has to be somebody who understands them, on some level, at least understands what they're going through and is patient enough to, deal with all their stupid bullshit. Because, kids can be really fucking annoying a lot of the time. They just say and do whatever the fuck pops in their heads. And, it takes kind of a special kind of patience to be able to not lose your shit from being around kids for too long.
Yeah. And and understanding to know what it's like to just toss off the bathroom all day long.
He was doing his hair.
But Brooks has never
Combing my
tossed
hair.
off in his life.
Nah, man.
He's not on Tulsa.
I'm always so tense. I'm just a fucking coil up spring all the fucking time, dude.
No, he's actually combing his hair.
Right now, as we speak. Oh,
I
that's weird.
Bounce to the moon out of nowhere.
You guys have all hit the nail on the head. It's not much for me to add. It's coming of age. It's about being yourself, trusting in yourself. It's about confidence. It's about mentorship. It's about all that stuff. It's about, though, to me, it's like, okay, let's look at overall some of the themes of some 80s movies, Jogn Hughes movies in particular. It's about the rise of the nerd. Okay? We're seeing, you know, Manny made the reference to Apple and Steve Jobs and the other dude, Wise ass or whatever his name is. And, you know, the idea is that nerds are about to take over the fucking world, y'all.
They did,
You know?
bro.
Yeah,
Now.
they did. And now what we call a nerd is not even that nerd because we're all nerds, but we ain't that
We're
level of
peasant
nerd.
nerds.
We ain't reinventing goddamn technology level of nerd. We're just the nerd that's sitting here talking for 2 hours about fucking weird science. You know what I'm saying? But the confidence you have to have in yourself. Where does that confidence come from? Experience. That's what Lisa's trying to tell them to do. You got to go out there. You got to try. God loves a trier. You get what I'm saying? If you don't try, it ain't going to work. Todd McFarlane's got hundreds of rejection letters. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Who gives a fuck? Where's he at now? Fuck, he got sued. He had to pay millions of dollars to Neil Gaiman and to a fucking hockey player because he was trying to tribute to him by giving him his name. Fuck all that shit. It's about sticking with the course, having confidence in who you are and what you can do, and going out there and fucking trying. You lose, or what is it? Did Phil Jackson say? Somebody said this. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
That's cliche and it's tired, but actually it's not, because that's a lesson we all need to learn. Go fucking do. Stop bitching. Stop moaning. Get out there and experience. And maybe you won't be a virgin forever. Brando? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Station. I'm just kidding. I love you, Brandon. Just kidding. Anyway, but he loves Polaris way too much. Anyway, moving on to the ratings. And you out there in the chat, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Weird Science? What about you, Jelani?
Well, it's rewatchable. It's fun. I love Kelly LeBrock. She turned Chet into shit. I'll give this one a 4.5. You digs.
Nice.
It's nostalgia. It's a solid film in places that I still enjoy. It holds a special place in my heart.
Right.
So yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 right now. It's good.
All right. What about you, Brian?
I go 4.5 as well. For a lot of the same reasons. The nostalgia of it. Like I said, I watched it, the other day, and I was crying, laughing again, all over again. And it brought back so many, fun memories or, growing up and everything. And its flaws to me are overcome by the dialogue, the music, the greatness of the parts that I like so much overcome the flaws of the story. I mean, it's, that's 4.5.
Nice. What about you, Manny?
I don't know why I'm hesitating. Like I'm not going to give it a 4 or 5. God damn it. This is a damn good movie. It's a movie that like Jelani said, it's rewatchable. It's entertaining. There's a million films out there that are better made, better written, better whatever. But I will watch those movies once and never watch them again. I've never even opened my Blu-ray of Avatar. All right. So I'm just telling you guys. All right.
You're not
that
supposed
shit
to.
happens. This film is one that I will watch again. This is Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. Damn it. I will still watch that. So I'm all in. 4 or 5.
All right. 4 or 5s all around so far here from the PCP panel. What about you, Fable?
I'm going to give it 4 or 5 as well. I think it's really a 4, but I'm going to give it 4 or 5 for the nostalgia of it. Young me would smack older me if I did anything less than 4 or 5. it shaped a lot of my thoughts of comedy, right? Jogn Hughes, one of my favorite comedy directors. Sure, this isn't his best film, but it's wild enough, and it's that coming of age like we talked about, and I was that age, so it just like lined up, and all the wild fantasies of older women, even though it looks kind of cringy now, but still it's like, that's what you dreamt of when you were like 8, 9, 10 years old, so yeah, 4 or 5, man, 4 or 5.
Yeah, totally dreamt of it 8, 9, 10, 39, 40.
30, 40.
Yup.
years old,
Right,
yeah,
still
All of those.
What about you, Brooks? I'm curious. Everybody's giving it a 4.5 so far. What about you, buddy?
I give it 3. It was all right.
God damn.
I thought I was gonna like it more than I did, and I was
there you
kind of let down a little bit. Then a lot of it has to do with just kind of the pacing. I don't think was very good, but it was good. I still liked it. I thought it was funny, but especially I think knowing it was a Jogn Hughes movie kind of had a little expectations on there too. And it just didn't quite live up to what I was expecting. It felt like it felt like he was just having fun with it and not really working too hard on it.
You didn't watch it as a kid. I understand.
Yeah, I don't have
You don't have the
nostalgia connection to it.
I'm glad that I'm not the one bringing it down, though, because I'm going to go 4. I want to give it a 4, you digs. I think that's very strong for this film. I do think it's got some structural script problems that could be fixed easily, but he wrote it in 2 days. The exhaustion, I understand the reason, but the product is still what it is, but I still enjoy it. I think 4, you digs. It's a classic. It's nostalgic. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's great. So 4 from me, 3 from from Brooks, 4.5 from everybody else for a PCP average of 4.3. 69 dudes. All right, taking a look at the chat real quick. We got 4 backlogs from Big Herm, 4.5 from Spilio, 4 out of 5 from Kirby, and 4 from Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. So that's pretty freaking solid, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Weird Science. Real quick, next week, we're going to be talking about the entirety of the Christopher Reeve Superman franchise. Wow. Yeah. Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very excited. We have some special guests for that night. But before that, join us for Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night. We're talking about The Gate. I have not watched this movie in like 25 years. I am so fucking ready for this. I'm excited. But before that, Thursday night, here on Pop Culture Philosophers, the monthly comic book review live show, Best Comics of the Month, me, Jim and Collectibles, Joe Corallo, the Cerebros, Nick, Comic Culture, and Bearded Comic Bro. It's going to be exciting. So Thursday, join us for the monthly stream. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. The Gate on Dylan's Horror Show, Saturday night at some point after 7 p.m. Central Time. And then next week, 8 p.m. Central Time, Monday night, here for PCP Movie Night, Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're on to March Madness, baby. March Madness. So we're about to take a quick break. When we come back, a little bit of PCP back chat, a little bit of show and tell. And I only got one more question, and that's, so what do you maniacs want to do first?
Thomas Show, J2. Oh wait, we're live again. All right, guys. So basically, what I want to tell you guys, head over to YouTube, go to Pop Culture Philosophers. Yeah, go hit it up. Dude, we're gonna be doing some back chat. We're gonna be doing some show and tell. I know there's gonna be some hashtag blaming tonight. So guys, go check
You
that
still on Instagram?
for real. I gotta go.
Station, y'all come on. PCP back chat, man. Come on.
Pop boom, y'all.
Pop boom, motherfucker, man. Come on. Pop boom, man.
Oh,
Man,
that
he's
was
the best
awesome.
hype man ever.
Bad batch up in here.
So real quick. I meant to say this during theme and I forgot to say it, but this is something I think that you actually missed when you brought up the bullies and their conversation with Gary and Wyatt, right? They're asking them advice that on a topic that Gary and Wyatt have figured out, but don't know how to they don't have the vocabulary for it yet. This movie is about how it is very possible to ritualize a statement of intent and therefore manifest the reality you want. They are doing a magic ritual. Like they're wearing bras on their head. They're doing all their fucking shit. They're saying their bits. Jogn Hughes may be a chaos mage. I don't fucking know.
They
I'm
saw
so
the
curious why they put David Lee Roth's picture in there.
Yeah.
His attitude,
Woman,
man.
What, David Lee Roth?
They want some flair, man.
Attitude, man.
They want a little bit of,
She definitely
everything.
had some David Lee Roth aspects to her character.
Yeah, because she ain't got no body.
Yeah.
That body is rocking. Oh, shit.
That was a good one.
Get it! Or Kelly LeBron. Why'd you marry Steve Seagal?
I ain't got nobody. What is this? It's telling me to hide a comment. What is going on? I've never gotten this thing here. Hide current comment. Can I look at it first? Oh, I see. I left a comment by Brian up saying that we were all combing our hair.
Was good.
That's right. That was a good comment. Yeah, that was a good bit. That's a good
What are you
movie review.
implying?
Good movie review. Here's my Steelbook edition. I'll just real
Whoa.
quick.
Nice.
This is the Arrow. There's 3 versions of the movie on here: theatrical, extended, and made for TV, like the TV cut. Beautiful.
I've
Look
never
at the
seen
back.
the extended cut.
You want to
ever.
see beautiful? Check this out. Look at the back.
Oh, dude.
Oh, what?
Dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Talk about fucking .69 anyway. We made it through.
How disappointing, bro. Grow up.
Oh, shut the fuck up. We were doing the Bond cast on Friday night. We're doing the Bond girls segment, right? And I get
Let's
it. It's
Bond
James
women.
Bond. We can honestly discuss James Bond. We're talking about James Bond. And then out of nowhere, Justin, out of everybody, fucking Justin, okay, goes, "Now, Robbie, let's remember we're discussing Bond girls in 2022, and it's about the character and the personality." And I'm like, yeah, no shit. But it's also about how fucking hot they are, too. And in addition to
Fancy
that,
more.
because a hot
Yeah.
Bond girl that has no story or character or personality, that sucks. Do you get what I'm saying? But like, I went my favorite's still Anna Top. I'm sorry. She's technically a
Solitaire for
villainess,
me.
but John picked Solitaire, but he loves Live and Let Die
Well, it's
because of
not
Paul
bad.
McCartney. Yeah,
Oh,
I had a list of
Not
Bond
bad.
girls.
I like that theme song.
I had Anna Top and I had Tiffany from Diamonds Are Forever, Fiona from Thunderball.
mhm.
I really like, my number one was Elektra from World Is Not
World
Enough.
Is Not
'Cause
Enough.
She's the
Yeah.
villain too, and I really fucking like the idea that finally a Bond girl fooled James Bond. I kind of like that aspect of it. And there was someone
I
else.
like Eva
Oh,
Green.
Vesper Lynn.
Yeah, I
Lynn.
like Vesper Lynn.
But I knew that everybody was wanting to pick that one, so I
Yeah.
left that's like the obvious one. That's obviously the
She's
most
like the
well-rounded.
pedestal. Yeah.
And what's her name from On Her Majesty's Secret Service is pretty good, but she's a bit. I don't like the arranged marriage aspect of it, but it did make my top 5. Where? Find out in the BCP podcast, the Bondcast, when it releases to the general public, whenever I get off my ass and edit it. But it's available to Patreon subscribers right now. Unedited.
Unedited. Yeah. 6 hours of just talking about Bond.
It's almost 3.
God damn.
There's a good
I
segment of
believe
there, like talking shit about Justin's mic and all that shit when he was on break smoking a cigarette. We were talking shit about him, so that's still alive.
Do you still have the podcast that we did for Bond, like all the way back in the day?
Nah, we deleted that one's done. It got lost with the computer.
God damn. That sucks.
You know, I do like World Is Not Enough. A lot of people don't. I do like that movie a lot. It's probably definitely in my top 10 Bond films, to be honest with you. Definitely in my top 12. But I hate Denise Richards. Her doctor, she's Dr. Christmas in that movie. She's a nuclear physicist. But one of my favorite Pierce Brosnan bits is when they're doing it, right? And they're like, you know, and he just goes, oh, I thought Christmas only came once a year. And I'm like, ah!
He's getting it.
Anyway, how y'all doing?
Good.
Chilling, man.
Yeah, man. I'm great.
Let's see here. Well, first of all, Bro Joe says I like Pussy Galore and Goldfinger.
Yeah.
And Brando says Diamonds Are Forever is the best Bond song. It's on my top 5. For sure.
I don't know. I always like Thunderball. It's
Well,
such a ridiculous
I'm
song.
gonna go with this. What's your favorite Bond song? Let's start with you. Thunderball, Tom Jones. Why?
Oh, I always like that one, but I don't know. Skyfall is pretty dope. I know that I have a grievance against Adele, but that grievance happened after that song came out.
Yeah, that's a good Bond song, Skyfall.
It is.
It really is.
Skyfall's excellent.
And
But
the thing
I've always loved Thunderball.
The thing I love about Thunderball so much is at this point, all that the songwriters get is the title of the fucking movie.
Yep.
So look at what came before. Goldfinger. Okay, I can make that work.
That was good
Right?
too.
You Only Live Twice.
He's the
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Fucking Thunderball.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Just a badass dude is what it must mean.
Tom
Right.
Jones did it. He's got Thunderballs,
He did
man.
I mean, he always runs while others walk. You know, I mean, dude's, it's a badass dude.
And he strikes dun, like
Thunder.
thunder. And then someone needs to just look at him and be like, Tom, what the fuck does that mean? Striking like thunder.
But that's why I love it so much.
What about you?
It doesn't really make any sense, but it sounds so cool.
Speaking of not making sense but sounding cool, what about you, Manny? What's your favorite Bond song?
Oh, dude, that's the greatest fucking transition to me I think I've ever had. My favorite is Live and Let Die because that's the only one that I can think of. So because that's the one I've heard the most of.
That was John's favorite.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, John is a mark for Paul McCartney, bro.
Yeah, but that middle part that his wife wrote, just I don't know.
When
You get-
he tries to get all reggae.
Yeah. If
Talk
you
about
cut that bit
cultural
out-
appropriation. Come on. Jesus.
Sorry.
It's a good song, though. I like it. I detest the Guns N' Roses version.
I'm
The
with you there.
Paramount Parks used to do their little figure skating like show in the middle of the day, you know, and that song was on there, and that was one of my first James Bond experiences. Was the guy figure skating to Live and Let Die. So, you know, deep part of my soul, my life, my love.
I always have a soft spot in my heart for Lulu's Man with the Golden Gun. I'm not going to lie. I actually like
that was
that
good.
movie, and I think that Christopher Lee's one of the best Bond villains. Unfortunately, he's not one of the best Bond movies. But the best Bond movies don't necessarily have the best Bond villains,
No.
in my opinion, except for my number one. But
But yeah, I agree on View to a Kill too. That's all.
that's
Yeah.
I'm going to
a
do a
good
little bit of a
song.
spoiler because I gave a top 10 favorite James Bond themes with 2 honorable mentions, and there was a tie within the top 10. So I'm not spoiling too much, but my number 1 is View to a Kill by Duran
It's
Duran.
dope.
But actually, I
It is,
lied. That's
yeah.
my number 2. I'm sorry. I did go with another for my number 1. Yeah.
And you'll have to find out in the podcast. There you go.
No, it's the theme from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the
Yeah, that's good.
orchestral one.
Yeah.
Fucking love, and they use that No Time to Die, bro. They lose they use the fuck, and they use the Louis Armstrong song, but somebody else covers it, right, bruh? And they twist it. You have all the time in the world, bruh.
We have all the time. Yeah.
But they change it to you at the end. He says you have all. Oh, what about you, Fable? Favorite Bond song?
Diamonds Are Forever. Because Kanye West. I mean, no, I don't know. I've never
The
really
Rock
seen
is
a
still
Bond
alive
film
every
before.
time I ride.
I've never watched James Bond.
Okay.
So
It's okay.
you know what? I'll go with the theme song, the one everybody knows. That doo-doo, doo-doo.
Doctor
That's an awesome
No.
song.
Doctor No.
Yeah, the dun, 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 dun,
That's
dun,
Dr.
dun,
No.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, we're going
on
with
the
that.
podcast, I break down what makes a Bond song a Bond song. I like lay it all out. I was like, it needs this, this, and this. And these are the ones that have it. Including Sheryl Crow. Speaking of Sheryl Crow, longtime lover, Brooks. What's your favorite Bond song? You got one?
A View to a Kill.
Yes.
Like
I'm surprised that you
I
like
haven't
that
seen
too.
that movie. I haven't seen like most Bond movies, to be honest.
Oh,
I've
that
only
movie's
seen, like, a
terrible,
handful
bro.
of Bond movies.
Yeah. You took Kill, sir.
But like,
Mayday is cool though in that movie. Grace Jones is Mayday.
Grace Jones. Yeah.
Christopher Walken sucks. Man, he's okay.
Christopher Walken sucks. How is
No,
that possible?
No.
Christopher
in the
Walken
movie, as
Is
a
not
Bond
necessarily
villain.
the best in the movie because it's not a good role for him, I should say.
Right.
It's like Goldfinger with microchips.
A role beyond Christopher Walken.
Well, don't worry, because just a mere like 7-8 years after that, we were going to get his phenomenal role as Max Schreck in Batman Returns.
Bruce Wayne. Why
Right.
he's just like Batman?
Jelani, what's your favorite Bond song?
It's Die Another Day, Madonna.
Are you
I
fucking
don't-
shitting
That
me?
song sucks, dude.
I don't know why.
I
man.
love that song.
I love that fucking song.
I like it.
I'm
That
gonna.
song is
It's-
not good, bro.
It's
Yes, and
yeah.
no,
I don't know what it is about that song.
I think I'll find another way.
Right.
It's
I
not
love
my
the
time.
Bro, but that song's hot garbage.
I love that song.
I didn't
Analyze
know that was
this.
a Bond song.
Analyze this. Analyze this.
All right, we got rid of that nonsense. Don't worry about it.
And I think it's the best opening scene. I think it's the best opening scene for a Bond film.
Dude,
Throw me in the
Let's get-
garbage.
Die
Like-
Another Day sucks so much
Yeah,
ass
it's a
as a
terrible
movie.
It's a
But
terrible
that
movie.
is that opening, that
Abs-
first act
that
is
opening,
badass.
It's
So
awesome.
much potential,
He's getting
brother.
his ass kicked
Oh my
the
God.
whole time in all the credits. He's getting tortured, and this song is playing, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
and the
great.
lyrics on the song are powerful to me. I literally have these fuckers written down on my bedroom wall. I see them every morning when I walk out of my bedroom. I see the lyrics to Die Another Day. It's like it's a mantra to me. I fucking love that song. But that movie, goddamn,
It
sucks.
sucks. It's garbage.
And how cool does this sound? A movie where James Bond gets captured in the first opening bit of the movie. He's tortured, and now he's coming back. So there should be some elements coming out from that.
PTSD.
It's got a diamond-faced fucking villain.
Yep.
It's got an ice palace, a fucking James Bond car
Halle
that's very
Berry.
invisible. Halle Berry's hot
Halle
ass.
Berry.
And this movie
God dang
fucking
it.
sucks, man.
Invisible car. All of that crap.
It's
And I'm
the
like,
second worst Bond film to me,
It
right?
is.
I mean,
It-
Octopussy takes the cake for me as the worst, but
hey, killing a guy in his dick through a hole in a table. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Was that the last one he did?
No.
The last one that Pierce Brosnan did?
Oh no.
I
Die
get those
Another
out of
Day, yeah.
order.
it was.
Dawn of the
Yeah.
Day was
I don't think I've seen that. That's the only one I don't think I've seen all the way through. Like I couldn't make it.
Oh, bro, you gotta check it out.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
totally, dude.
yeah.
You feel like I just forgot the last 3 minutes?
Oh, don't worry. These fools think I'm playing, but when the next James Bond movie's release date gets announced, I'm going to count all the James Bond movies up and schedule all the Mondays for PCP movie night, Bond leading up to it. So y'all just wait. As long as it doesn't take place during Horror Fest, because then we'll skip it. No, they could be fun movies to unpack individually. I
Or
think.
do it by actor, maybe.
Yeah, don't rush me, man.
I'm just
Don't tell me it's a bad idea. I'll do it even more.
That's a lot. That's
Just
a
a
lot
suggestion,
of
man.
bonds,
Pop,
man.
boom.
I like your
baby.
idea.
That's a lot of bonds. People get tired of watching this. They'd be like, "Is this a Bond thing now?
Uh,
We're watching 27 movies."
Goddamn, just a Bond fucking YouTube channel now?
Yeah,
What the fuck? You're right. That would take like half a year, man.
yeah.
Maybe we should maybe you're right by actor. But then I have to ask everybody to watch all those Roger Moore movies all in 1 week. Come on.
They're like 90
That
million.
would be rough.
7
They
of them.
are. Oh God, they
Yeah,
suck.
he made 7.
Don't worry, it won't be for a long while till we do this. I
James.
planned it for the 75th anniversary of James Bond.
But then there'd be one on George Lazenby, or would we throw him in with Sean Connery?
See exactly what do you do there? And do you include Never Say Never Again? What?
You do. It's a Bond film.
Thunderball rename.
It's not the greatest. Oh whoa! Hey, you got some chat fun.
Yeah, I just saw that. I think they popped up on Dylan's Horror Show the other day.
Yeah, I put him on timeout last time. Goodness.
All right,
gracious.
I gotta go do something, but I haven't watched Peacemaker or Boba Fett, so this is a good time for PCP to finally chat about it.
Oh, okay. Who thought Peacemaker was awesome? Raise your hand. That saw it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, then.
I
That's
want
okay. John Cena, I cannot stand as a human being, but my God, he made an absolute gem of a television show with James Gunn. Peacemaker is 7 episodes of the best the DCEU that we've ever gotten, I think.
Wow.
Like next to Suicide Squad, the Peacemaker TV show as an accompaniment to it is absolutely fantastic. I suggest you watch it. It's on HBO Max, or if you can find it anywhere else, I would definitely, binge it. It's hilarious. Like it's serious. It's hilarious. It's a balance of everything. The special effects are wonderful. The villain is great. The main villain and what the actual plot is for this is great. The side characters are all fantastic. They all have James Gunn isms. It's everything that you would love about a James Gunn film or anything that he's done is put in this and amped to 11. It's got hair metal, which I am not a fan of, but apparently I love it now. The theme song is done by this group, this hair metal band called Wigwam, and it's like, do you want to taste it? And the intro you will never want to skip. Because the intro is basically a TikTok. It's hilarious. It's like a TikTok video.
Yeah, for people that can't dance, right?
They can't dance at all. And it's like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
I saw this thing that the choreographer for that, she wanted to do something for people that couldn't dance. And so she taught all the moves to her husband to also help demonstrate what the moves were. And it's Alan Tudyk. So you can actually see footage of him doing the dances too and everything like that. Yeah, that part is awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I suggest you guys watch it at all. It's better than Boba Fett. Skip Boba Fett at all costs to me. Unless you like The Mandalorian season 3, go ahead and watch it because there's some episodes in there with Mandalorian that may ruin that show. I'm really scared for season 3 now. No. Mandalorian. I'm like, oh my God, did you just do all of this in this show that no one's watching? Boba Fett has always been the laziest character in like all of Star Wars. He's by far the laziest character to me. And like the fact that they gave him a show and he's still the laziest character you've ever seen in a show. Skip it at all costs except for episodes 5 and 6 and maybe 7. And 7 is the worst episode of all of them. Yeah, I give it personally. I give Book of Boba Fett I give it like a 2.5 because of the 3.5 episodes that I enjoyed. So 2.5 episodes, I'll say, because it's hot garbage. It's not worth your time and effort to me. I don't know. Anybody else watch Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I watched it a couple times.
Okay.
Way more than I should have. I mean, it's boring, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like the
is.
first 2 episodes are just fucking
Terrible.
so boring. Like, and you can skip like the entire Boba Fett like backstory flashback shit,
Yeah.
and it doesn't
It
change,
doesn't change
anything at all. Like even so in those episodes, like the second time through, I completely skipped those parts, and nothing made any difference. But what do you do with Boba Fett when you took everything cool about Boba Fett and you gave it to the Mandalorian? There's nothing for him. They'd have been better served not doing anything with Boba Fett and just left him mysterious. Like, not told us how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, not told us any of that, because it just wrecks him. He just seems like a lazy ass old man. Like
he is a lazy, but he's always lazy.
Yeah,
it's written lazily. The story is ill paced. It's horribly paced. You can't do flashbacks. The flashbacks should serve the main story, and the flashbacks do nothing to help the main story. You could have just told this in order, and you just should show me that they did certain things in order, and then they got to this, and I'd still be like, well, why did you make 2 episodes about the Mandalorian? You know, but still, it would make more sense.
I think that they canceled Rangers of the New Republic, and then they were contractually obligated to that crew, and they just gave them Book of Boba Fett to give them something to do, like, because it's completely pointless. And then they took 2 episodes of Mandalorian and threw them in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the last episode
it's the premiere.
It's just a big fight scene with nothing going on, because they didn't actually write anything. They took 2 episodes of Mandalorian and they're like, oh shit, we got to tie this all up. It just had characters fight in a sandbox for an hour. So,
Danny Trejo's wasted. They don't show him but in 1 episode. It's not really worth it. And like, he's in it, and I think he's like trying to double cross Boba Fett with what he says to the Rancor, because they give him a Rancor in one of it. And I'm like, why? Oh yeah, and not to spoil anything for real, but why use a Rancor in the last episode when you have a freaking spaceship called Slave One? All of your problems are solved with a flying spaceship. You have a flying spaceship with laser beams.
Yeah, they were mashing all these different movie tropes and styles together to me. I mean, like
samurai,
and it didn't work. I mean, you had samurais, westerns, monster stuff.
Mafia.
Right? You had to throw the monster stuff. That's why they did the Rancor stuff. You know, I thought it was kind of a mess. I don't think I disliked it as much as everybody else did. I mean, there were parts I liked, but my expectations for it were a little different. You know, because like I mentioned my age earlier, and I went over hard on it. Sorry, but I saw Star Wars.
You're loved,
you know,
man. You're
A New
loved.
Hope in the theater. You know, I was 5 years old.
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
You had it too. But so, you know, I grew up with that, right? And then I saw the prequels and was like, huh, okay. You know, and then saw the next 3, and there was parts of those I liked and everything. And, you know, I absolutely love The Mandalorian, but my expectations for Boba Fett weren't all that high, probably because of all the other stuff. And, you know, when I was growing up, Boba Fett was super cool, but, you know, in retrospect, looking at him in the movies, he just looked super cool.
Right.
I mean, he was a great action figure. He was, he didn't do much. I mean, did he capture Han Solo, or did Darth Vader do it? I mean, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, so like, it's just like my expectations weren't all that high, but like on the Peacemaker thing, you know, that's an easy opportunity to make a hit show. Cause like, I mean, James Gunn, like I thought he hit it out of the park with that Suicide Squad movie. I freaking loved it, you know, and then, you know, taking that character who isn't used in the DC universe, except very sporadically. I mean, to me, he's more famous for being the comedian in, you know, one of the greatest comics of all time, The Watchmen, right? I mean, that's the basis for that character. I mean, that's the only reason I even knew who Peacemaker was, right? Because of The Watchmen,
right?
And that gives you like all this ground to work with.
Hero. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He's a Charlton hero.
Yeah, he was brought over from that.
Yeah,
and but yeah, you're right, Jelena. That show is just, I mean, one of the things I like about shows like that is when all the side characters, you care about them too. Mm-hmm. Like they all have stories and they evolve as the thing goes on too.
As it
like,
goes,
they all did.
It's not a main character. It's not just Peacemaker, and it's so fantastic. Even the villains you like it's so clean. I don't know.
I thought some of the action scenes with Vigilante, man, like some of that stuff was actually, I mean, it was really cool.
Yeah,
know?
Vigilante's like probably one of the best characters in that show.
I'm excited to check out Peacemaker not as excited to check out Boba Fett, but I will eventually. So, all right, y'all, we had a long movie review because we were really diving deep in some fucking weird science tonight.
Yeah.
But it's time for show and tell. So, kicking us off tonight is going to be a veteran. Brooks, show us what you've got, brother.
I actually found a lot of treasures this past week. I'm going to start with my weird stretch. I found this guy at Walmart.
What?
He's a fucking metal turtle with like a solar-powered light in his belly.
That's cute.
I love how that's meant to be like a yard decoration, but Brooks is like just totally got that put up in his bedroom or his living room.
Yeah. This is where we'll go.
I also found this guy at the Target.
Stridor.
Robot
Nice.
horse, and I put Mr. Robot Man inside of him. So he's Robot
Well
Man
done.
and his robot horse.
I got Fisto in mine.
Very Westworld of you.
Yeah.
He's the man in black.
Yeah.
I found this character. This is a cool figure I stumbled on over at the Target. This is from the Naruto series. So now I've got all of the Team 7 figures. She was the last one, my holdout.
Okay.
I found this guy too. His power level is over 9,000.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, I picked this up the other day at the Walmart.
Nice.
Can
I
they
found
get
this
it?
movie. They had it on sale for like $13 too. I was like, damn.
Did you watch it?
Nice.
Yeah,
Did you like it?
I liked it, but like I think I need to rewatch it. I watched it too late, and I got drowsy towards the end.
Oh, bro, that's my favorite movie of last year. You got to get super proper stoned, but wide awake.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Actually, I agree with that assessment. You have to watch. Yeah. Yeah.
And last of all, I picked this up. This is the North Star,
It's a North Star.
Nice.
Volume 3.
Oh yeah.
This is the one that leads up to Jaggy. Like, you want to know how bad Jaggy is?
Sure.
He makes this poor kid drag a rock across the desert
Oh, that is awesome.
for sticking up for his younger brother.
Throw that
or his
page
older
up
brother.
again. Throw that page
I
up
love
again.
that art, man.
Like, you see how far he's been dragging it.
Dude, sometimes I think we forget
So
30
nice.
years ago, beginning of Image. Big manga influence on those dudes.
Yeah.
I did a revisit, or I've for the first time read the Savage Dragon miniseries by Eric
Yeah, I
Larson.
saw your video or your.
Yeah.
Bruh, huge manga influence on these guys. Seriously.
Yeah. If this is North Star, is great. It's so because it's like just so over the top violent. Because like this dude, like especially if you watch like the anime, where it shows like the dudes, like you actually see the animation of dudes like just swelling up and like exploding and shit, and blood spraying everywhere. It's like fucking rad, man.
Is that what you got, Brooks?
Yeah.
Very well done. Very well done. All right. Fable, first time tonight. You did fantastic, my man.
Thank you, brother.
You did fabulistic. What you got for show and tell, man? Show us.
Well, this is where the show goes down because I don't have too much to show. I only got like 2 things this week.
You mean you ain't
but-
got some kind of like turtle lamp to show or some shit?
What'd you get at Walmart?
Do a Verno.
Bar too high, bro.
Hold on,
Infinity
let me
Gauntlet.
go. Let me go to my front yard. Let me grab something.
Just
I
don't
gotta-
pull an Infinity Gauntlet, dude. You're gonna be fine.
I got a cool AOK from Sister Joe, Brother Joe's wife. Brother Joe is down with the PCP Army Bad Batch. Love that guy, love his wife. So she's been reading this series. She thought I would like it, and it's a series that was recommended by actually Steph, Missing Link Comics. But she sent me the trades, and I'm happy to have them. So I got Paper Girls.
Great
Uh,
book,
Nice.
Number 1, Paper Girls. Number 2, number 3.
Those are nice covers.
Heck yeah. Number
quick change.
4. Yep. Number 5. And number 6. The
You
last
got the
one.
whole run, my friend.
That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So thank you, Sister Joe. You are amazing. Love you. And one last thing I got is this I collect the Transformers, and I kind of was sticking to the 86 line of things. I was trying to get anything related to the 86 movie. But then I watched that Bumblebee movie, and I kind of fell in love with the way they look in that movie.
That's how they fucking get you, man.
Bumblebee's awesome, man. Bumblebee's awesome.
I kind of like the designs of that, so I'm chasing those figures as well. And I was supposed to get the guy that this one goes with, but apparently I'm getting it tomorrow. I'm like, just right after my debut on Pop Culture Movie Night. I don't get the figure I want to show off. But anyway, I got a Ravage.
Nice. I am jealous.
Which is like the smallest Transformer I think I've ever bought since I started collecting these things. But it's absolutely gorgeous.
So that's just Ravage.
Yeah, just Ravage.
But you're getting Soundwave, aren't
if
you?
you don't
Soundwave
mind,
is coming tomorrow.
If you don't mind me asking, how much was that?
$10.
That's
nice.
Not much. Those are cassettes, man.
That's really decently appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. $10 and
it should be $5, but $10's not bad.
He should come with Soundwave. That's really what should do. How it should go.
Soundwave should come with fucking all of them.
You're absolutely right.
It's always bullshit that they keep making more fucking cassettes, and you're like, "What the fuck show was that from?"
Absolutely.
Was that what you got, Fable?
Yeah, man. Just those two things.
Done. That's awesome. Well done. Paper Girls is fucking amazing, dude. You're gonna love it.
And the show's in production right now too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh wow.
It's a really solid book. Speaking of solid and books, he doesn't read them, and he's not solid. It's Manny. Show us what you've got.
I don't read nothing. No. So I guess I'll keep with the theme then. So getting ready for March Madness, I'm going to be covering crazy ass books with like crazy art style, shit like that on my channel for that month. So I got the Horist. This is a fucked up book. I don't know if you've ever read this. It's a John Constantine book that's not really a John Constantine book. I don't know who the fuck this is on the cover, but it's supposed to be John Constantine. But the artwork in this book is fucking nuts, you guys. Just nuts. Delano does an amazing job with this really cool painterly style.
Very
just a gorgeous book that is confusing as shit. But I got that. Joe Corallo, you recently had him on the podcast, and he'll be joining you on Thursday. He talks about, I hope this is what he's talking about, because otherwise I spent some fucking money on books. But he's talking about Legion. Always, I'm assuming he means Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I grabbed some Legion of Superheroes books, so that if I ever have Joe on my show again, I know what the fuck he's talking about, or at least have some kind of semblance.
So we can tell you that those ones are the ones that suck.
Yeah. Well, that's Joe's MO though. I'm just telling you, I'm not everything.
He loves these things.
Let me tell you what Legion of Superheroes you really need to read.
Yeah. And then I got to hear about his 80 issue run of fucking Captain America or whatever he's got plotted out. I mean, it's a whole thing with Joe.
He's got a 5-year plan, man. He respect it.
That he does. We talked about Peacemaker, so I grabbed some vigilante goodness.
Look at the ass shot cover.
Yeah, that's
what drew him to the book.
That's the best one.
That's like
it was actually Cyborg. I was like,
there's a Jack Kirby Fantastic Four cover of Namor's ass. That's like that. Nice. I think it's like issue 8 or 9 or some shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
With them trunks on? With them trunks.
Yeah, with them scaled trunks, man.
Damn. All right. And then I don't know what's in these. I got these from Whatnot, and I don't know because I buy just shit, because Whatnot should be called Why Not. You just buy shit. It's a mad frenzy. So I got these from Southern Comic Geek, Jason from your neck of the woods. This is
nice. He's been in my shop a couple times, man.
Oh, he's a good dude. Excalibur Mojo Mayhem. So
dude, I just picked that up like a few weeks ago.
Did you?
It's like Art Adams or some shit. So I picked it up.
Yeah, it is Art Adams. Yeah, so I grabbed this. I guess from him. I didn't remember buying it, but I got it. Shit. And Power of Shazam. This one I do remember bidding on because I like the art on the cover. I don't know if that reflects the art on the inside, but
is it the Jerry Ordway shit, man?
Yeah, Jerry Ordway, Mike Manley, and
top
John
notch.
Nyberg.
Top notch.
And then this, because I thought this cover was dope. The symbiote swap
Nice.
right there. I that came from Moms and Sons Comics. I buy a lot from them. And then this came from AEL Coffee. I'm about to wreck it opening it up, but it's in very fine, except I think I just bent it. It's an Amazing Spider-Man annual.
Oh, nice.
Is that
I'm a
Frank
sucker
Miller?
for yellow on covers.
Is that a Frank Miller cover? Who was that?
This one here, Hannigan and Jansen. But
Jansen. There you go. That's why I thought it was Miller.
look at that. So yeah, so that's what I got.
Very nice. Very nice, young man. Speaking of young men, Brian, what you got?
Hey there. Well, I wasn't sure what I was going to show because I was expecting some stuff tomorrow that actually showed up today. So I had a really cool mail day today. First thing I got was a Kickstarter I backed, Gardener by Matt Emmons. We've had Liana Kangas on the show. She co-hosts a podcast with him called Comics Inebriated, where they have a guest on and they
Dude, they're talking about the Invisibles in the next episode.
Yep. And they have they have Jack Kirby, they have some like Tintin, lots of different topics on there, and lots of pretty
topics.
good guests.
They don't actually have Jack Kirby on the podcast.
That's correct. I mean, the topic is
They didn't resurrect Jack Kirby?
they have comic creators come on and talk about a topic they know a lot about, and so yeah, it's a pretty good one. But man, this is really nice. I mean, it's like got raised lettering on it, the fabric on the spine, the lettering. I don't know. I'm really excited to dig into this one. It's a meaty book too. It's pretty thick, so pretty excited to read that. And then right before the pandemic hit, Liana was at the Chicago convention, and she was sharing a table with Gavin Smith, who we've also had on the show, and she hung out with Justin Richards, and she picked me up a couple prints, and we were supposed to exchange them when she was coming down to Huntsville, but the pandemic hit, and all that stuff kind of changed. So she sent me this Justin Richards signed Finger Guns print.
Nice.
I like that.
Pretty cool. And then she also sent me one of her prints from Riverdale, which I haven't seen, but I don't know, it's a cool print. And then this one from Gavin Smith, Watchmen.
Sweet.
I don't know, it's so cool.
It would have been better if he had his dick hanging out.
Yeah,
it would have been.
Just can't really display that on the table at a con where kids are walking by.
Or just put the price sticker over that, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Put the $20 right there. Yeah. So I don't know. I was pretty excited about that. So, let's see. And then this last thing. Excuse me. This thing is the biggest book I've ever owned in my life. My wife, I got to give credit to her. She scouts out the Goodwill auctions all the time, and if she sees comics, she asks me if I want it. And so this one, like, I hadn't heard of it or anything like that, but based on the price and what it looked like, I was like, yeah, just go ahead and get it. And it's the history of DC Comics.
Whoa.
And, yes, it's this big.
Jeez.
I mean, it's over 700 pages. And the printing on it is just insane.
That's sick.
It's got fold outs with timelines in it.
What?
I don't know if I can do. I'm not in good shape.
Bro, that's cool. You're gonna have to bring that by. We can unpack it or something. Like do a kayfabe type video where we just flip through it or some shit.
Yeah, and they even cover.
We'll call it our kayfabe homage.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be good. That would take a long time though. It's 700 pages.
I've been waiting for a 6-hour episode again, bro. So
I was trying to hold on. Yeah, look at that. This is the intro to one of the chapters with hollow foil on it.
Bruh, hollow foil on the interior.
And the inside.
Look, look, y'all. Brian can't lift it. Look at that.
No, I can't. I'm not in good enough shape.
Oh,
I think I'm going to build a pulpit in my, and put it in my reading room so that I can have this sitting on it, and I'll have to read it standing up. Yeah. That's okay.
You put a stool.
It's going to take me a while to get through this, but yeah, it's it came out in 2010. But yeah, I mean, it's
Comic Toby says that looks like straight from Dumbledore.
Dumbledore size.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like my mind was blown because like it was, you know, it was addressed to my wife, and I picked it up and I was like, dang, this thing's heavy. You got something in the mail, it's super heavy. And she went, no, this is yours. And I went and grabbed it. And I was like, wow, this is so cool.
Dude, that's dope.
So,
Yeah.
but I'll bring it by the shop for sure.
Hell yeah,
That is
man.
crazy.
Look, we should totally unpack that on a video, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Next up, the main man, the Jelangsta gangster. They call him the what? The rail.
Rails.
It's
All right,
Jelangsta.
guys. Hi guys. I guess to jump with where Fable was, I'll take a page, but I got this in the mail a couple days ago, and I was excited. I got my my blaster.
Oh man,
Is
I'm
it
still
made?
waiting for it. Still waiting.
And it has eject inside of it. So he's the little cassette tape.
Damn.
He's in there too, and I was like, "Wow!" I haven't transformed it yet because I'm always scared to transform into cassette tapes. But as a comparison, I'll go ahead and put up a Soundwave.
Nice.
And,
Oh yeah.
With my laser beak, I had to buy separately, so we're gonna have a talk about that. But yeah, these two are
absolutely
gems. I love them. But yeah, I was gonna show these off anyway, but then you brought that Ravage out. I was like, Ravage is in his chest. He can't
Oh
get
man,
Ravage.
I wish I had the movie Soundwave,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah, that
coming
movie
tomorrow.
Soundwave is awesome. You're getting it. You're getting it. And then I guess I got another mail in that I've been waiting for months, and they finally dropped them. It was the Hand Ninjas, the Black Hand
Oh,
Ninjas.
nice.
So I got two of them. I love these a lot better than the red ones for some reason, even though the red ones are more accurate. But I love these two because they're like paler skin. I don't know if you can see it, but like their eyes are redder than the other one, and they're just dead. Of course, they're
Zombie
these
ninjas.
the zombie ninjas. So I love these. They were like surprisingly cheap, but I had to get two of them. I got two of them before they sold out. And then I got crap. I dropped it. Harley Quinn from the that long ass title name Birds of Prey movie.
Nice.
The light is too bright. I don't know how to. Let me turn it on. It'll help
Oh yeah.
a little bit. She's got the rotten on her face, but the Suicide Squad one doesn't have the rotten. And she was holding the egg sandwich that fell, but she's got her egg sandwich. I think I can put it in there. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. And then from the TV show I hate, but I love the action figure line, it's Fisto from Revelation. This has got to be like one of my favorite ones next to Savage He-Man.
Yeah,
He just
keep buying toys from shows you don't like. That's going to solve the problem.
Man, these are the best looking figures that they ever could have made on the worst show, on the freaking garbage show I've ever watched.
You think
But-
the Revelations is the worst show you've ever watched?
It's pretty bad. It's worse than
Damn,
Boba Fett.
dude.
It's worse than Boba Fett. And Boba Fett's pretty bad, but it has too many member berries. A lot of member berries. And then finally, I will end with I finally opened it because I was just like, what's it gonna sit in the box for? I got my Land Shark open,
Nice.
and I got Zodak in it because he's lame. But I got Trapjaw driving it, and I'm so glad I got this. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get all the vehicles now. So I have Stridor, I have the Land Shark, and I have a Wind Raider. And then whatever they come out with next, I'll get that too. But these are so exciting. I'm glad this series is out. The Origins line is like probably the best Mattel line ever made.
Hell yeah, man.
Wow.
I love it. But that's it. That's all I got.
Hell yeah, man. That's really dope. All right, next up, me. Show and tell. So last year, we did a DC in the 80s where I talked about one of the first comics, the first comic I ever had when I was a kid. And I mentioned that this one is one I bought, but I have my original somewhere. Well, I found it recently, so I want to share it. There's my DC
Nice.
Comics Presents
Cool.
91 off the newsstand. Super fucking beat up. Like gnarly as shit.
It's got Voltron.
Yeah, but that's it, baby. That's what started all of this, y'all. This comic book. I showed this one off already, but this was my Christmas gift from Nick Barucci at
awesome.
Dynamite.
That's
Ken
good.
Hazer doing
cool.
a Captain Carrot. I say that because another gift I got from Dynamite, and no, I'm not a shill for them, but I got a Ken Hazer because I thought this was a weird stretch when we had it on the show last week. So I was like, I want that. And so Nick just sent it to me. It's a Rainbow Bright, bruh. Same artist doing a Rainbow Bright. What was that?
Gosh. If I had $50, I'd have jumped on that Raphael sketch you guys had on there.
I know,
God,
man.
that was dope.
That was a good one. I'm glad Manny's here because Mike got me still in the packaging, still sealed.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, Small Soldiers VHS clamshell.
That's funny.
So I love the Kenner Total Justice toy line from the 90s. And I want everyone on card. And I have a few of them. But now I only need 2 more. Because of Mike the Voice Matthews finding them for me.
Finds them.
Mike, man.
So there's my Batman I just got.
Dope.
That is cool.
There's my Flash.
Wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
They all have armor. I want
Yeah.
a full set on card and off card complete. So still a ways to go. Robin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Black Lightning,
Wow.
which I already have a Black Lightning on card,
You
which
do.
means I get to open up one of them. So
Nice.
They look
super
crispy
cool.
too, man.
Yeah, they're nice, man, and these are super cheap.
Who keeps this stuff for all these years? It's so crazy.
His
Oh, there's-
grandma's in the
there's
basement.
more.
Mhm.
All right. I loved this one when I was a kid. Hawkman.
Nice.
That's so cool.
It's that 90s Hawkman, y'all. Look at that.
That is
Oh.
dope.
So dope.
Gotta have a good villain. Dark Side.
Wow.
I have that dark side.
The really obnoxious thing about this Dark Side is that claw
That claw is attached to his
Yeah.
hand.
doesn't come off.
It
Doesn't
doesn't
come
come
off.
off. But it can pick up huge amounts of things. So I have a Hulk. Dark side's holding Hulk.
Nice.
Despero.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
How
All
many
right.
figures is this?
Yeah, I know, right?
Total Justice
And the
Alive.
last one, the only ones I need
Are you
now
keeping track?
are Fractal Armor Batman and Green Lantern. But my main man,
Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I had that
Aquaman,
figure
baby.
too. I had that figure.
Aquaman. Anyway, that's my show and tell. So there you go.
Dope.
That is awesome.
That
I'm like
was
dangerously
1, 2, 3,
close to like dropping off comics and getting into figures. I swear to God. Every time I watch you guys,
No.
I just
I
get a
didn't
little
think- yeah,
closer
don't do
to
it,
it.
man.
Do both. That was 9 Total Justice figures that I picked up. So fuck yeah. All right, that was the show. Thank you all so much. Mike says, found it all in Nick's backyard. Hell yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much. Fable, thanks for joining us, for being here. All right,
Anytime,
we're about
man.
to get
Thank
to
you.
final thoughts. Yeah, check out Fable on Instagram for sure and on YouTube as well. Master of Beats and the Blame Fable Tonight show. But Jelani, final thoughts.
I'd have banged Kelly LeBrock the second she was made. That's it.
All right, Brian, final thoughts.
I've got to go comb my hair again.
What's that? I couldn't hear you.
I got to comb my.
Now, I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
Manny, final thoughts.
So I finally figured out about the style and the structure, so I can stop waffling on that. So if y'all got about 10 minutes, I'll.
Fable, final thoughts.
He's into malacas. You hear this guy?
I love it. Brooks, final thoughts.
What do you think about it, man? Isn't all science really weird science?